Hello everyone and welcome to Uz Report World News Broadcasting, and my name is Davron Jumaev. Uzbekistan declared 2021 the year of youth support and public health promotion. It is with this purpose President Shavkat Mirziyoyev gathered officials for a regular meeting on Wednesday.
Today, the official unemployment rate among youths aged 18 to 30 is 17%. 26,000 young people do not have a job in Tashkent alone. At the same time, there are 77,000 vacancies in the city, 45,000 of which do not require higher education. Such vacancies, according to the president, could be filled by educating youth in professions and assigning them a qualification category. The government is expected to allocate some $14.3 million to build and renovate existing music and art schools, cultural centers, and museums. This year, it is planned to increase the number of people engaged in sports to 25%. With the share of youth comprising 20%, nearly $9.5 million have been allocated from the budget to equip kindergartens and schools with sports equipment. The relevant ministries were instructed to organize 20,000 sports clubs in schools, assign sports federations and winners of international competitions to schools, and involve youth in professional sports.
Uzbekistan's gross domestic product grew by 1.6% in 2020. The Uzbek State Statistics Committee said on January 27. GDP per capita in current prices comprised $1,685, having dipped by 0.3% year-on-year. Last year, the country saw a 0.7% increase in industrial growth, while the agriculture, forestry and fishery sectors registered 3% growth, and the construction sector grew by 9.2%. Additionally, the trade and services industry posted 0.1% growth, according to the committee. Uzbekistan's economy has been hit by the coronavirus pandemic, but to a lesser extent than that of its neighbors, due to rising gold prices, a key source of Uzbek exports. Despite the prohibition of forced labor in Uzbekistan, about 1.5 million people were seen in cotton fields in 2020. This issue was focused at the video conference held by the National Commission for Combating Human Trafficking and Forced Labor. The systematic forced labor is prohibited in the country. However, in some cases there are still offenses. About 1.5 million people participated in the cotton harvest in 2020. In more than 40 cases, those who forced people to work were brought to administrative responsibility. The roundtable also discussed the results of the third-party monitoring conducted by the International Labour Organization during the 2020 cotton harvest. About 17 international organizations joined a monitoring conducted in 2020, and at our conference today, the director of ILO gave an assessment. According to the results of the monitoring, it was said that there is no forced child labor in Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan Statistics Committee has unveiled the average monthly wages of employees of enterprises and organizations with the status of legal entities for 2020. The average monthly salary includes allowances, remuneration, incentive payments, compensation payments, as well as income tax withheld from individuals and contributions to the trade union fund.
According to the committee, financial and insurance employees earned the most in the country last year. Their average salary was $590, 2.3 times higher than the national average. Bankers and insurers earned an average of $410 per month, up to 10.1% year-on-year. The average monthly salary of employees of industrial enterprises amounted to $340, up 11.2% year-on-year. Salaries in the field of transportation and storage amounted to an average of $324, up 14.8%, with the figures $305 in construction and $257 in trade. Doctors received the worst wage of all, at an average of $171, or 67.8% of the national average. People with higher education on average earned around $400.
Non-compliance of Uzbekistan's one and only car manufacturer with the tax payment deadlines was harshly criticized by the country's most popular deputy Rasul Kusherbayev at the meeting of the Legislative Chamber on Wednesday. The MP said the state budget has not received millions of dollars in taxes from the company. During a meeting dedicated to 9-month results of 2020, it turned out that the company did not pay $55.6 million US. If you calculate the entire amount by the end of the year, we get a number at around $74 million US. The tax code states that this fee must be paid, and the presidential decree states that it must be paid. So far, the budget has not received about $10.8 billion US from the company. And everyone is silent, no one gives comments. The Ministry of Finance promised to contact and give information, but didn't say anything. I do not understand if another entrepreneur does not pay at least 1% of this compulsory fee, then he would definitely face a criminal case. But now we're talking about billions. Chairman of the State Committee for Tourism Development of Uzbekistan, Aziz Abduhakimov, as part of his visit to Turkey, held talks with the management of Pegasus Airlines. The airline specialist presented a map of flights linking the countries of pilgrimage tourism around the world and a project to connect this flow with the cities of Uzbekistan. They also stated that they would develop and provide Uzbekistan with a new commercial offer based on the benefits provided by the country. After the talks, the Uzbek delegation got acquainted with the management system and logistics capabilities of the Sabiha Gökçen Airport in Istanbul. Turkish airport operator TAV has signed a deal with Uzbekistan's Ministry of Innovative Development on cooperation in the fields of joint investment and innovative projects, the company said on Wednesday. The project aims at the modernization of airports and the implementation of a joint investment project for the construction of a new airport in Tashkent. The corresponding memorandum of understanding was signed by Deputy Innovative Development Minister Oybek Norinbayev and TAV Airports CEO Sani Sener in a ceremony this Tuesday in Tashkent. Calling the deal an important step towards TAV's goal of growth in Central Asia, Sener said, "Drawing on our know-how operating 15 airports in 8 countries, will work towards developing and modernizing airports in Uzbekistan. Cooperation in the field of adopting new technologies and advancing human resources. TAV Airports provides integrated services in all areas of airport operations with a global footprint at 91 airports in 26 countries." Despite the negative impact of the coronavirus pandemic on the world economy, Uzbekistan's bilateral trade with Azerbaijan increased by 12% in 2020, with its turnover exceeding $82 million US. This was announced by Bahrom Ashrafkhanov, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Uzbekistan, during an online business forum on Wednesday. The event saw 140 Uzbekistan's export companies as well as 93 business circles from Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan's Deputy Economy Minister Rovshan Najaf said that last year imports saw 11.5% growth. Exports soared by approximately 20%. The two countries have reached over 130 agreements, including the double taxation avoidance covenant. Work is underway to prepare inter-regional cooperation agreement for signing. This will pave the way for direct inter-regional cooperation. Besides China, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Georgia currently cooperates in the creation of European Transmodal. The participants of the event noted that the Made in Uzbekistan online business matching and Made in Uzbekistan textile online exhibitions that attracted about 100 Uzbek producers of export-oriented products and more than 150 entrepreneurs from Azerbaijan have delivered the intended results. Camera traps at Saigachi Reserve of Karakalpakstan have captured young and male red-listed Saiga antelopes. This lucky chance was also gained on December last year after a population of 35 individuals was caught in the camera trap in February 2020. Saiga's number has decreased by 90% over the past 10 years. No species of large mammal has ever disappeared so significantly. Saiga conservation campaign has been taking every possible step for their safety.
We desperately need a unified national response to the climate crisis.
Making climate change a top priority, U.S. President Joe Biden signed a raft of executive orders Wednesday. Clean energy policies he promised would be a boon to the U.S. economy and an engine for job growth.
This is a case where conscience and convenience cross paths, where dealing with this existential threat to the planet and increasing our economic growth and prosperity are one and the same.
Biden said millions of good-paying union jobs would be created in wind and solar energy. something former Secretary of State John Kerry, in his new role as U.S. climate envoy, noted at a press briefing earlier in the day.
You know, you look at the consequences of black lung for a miner, for instance, and measure that against the fastest growing job in the United States before COVID was solar power technician. The same people can do those jobs.
Meanwhile, Biden's nominee for Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm, who spent 8 years as governor of Michigan, the hub of U.S. auto manufacturing, defended the administration's position in her confirmation hearing Wednesday as a way to prevent foreign countries from hijacking U.S. jobs.
So we can buy electric car batteries from Asia, or we can make them in America. We can install wind turbines from Denmark, or we can make them in America.
Biden also paused new oil and gas leases on federal land and cut fossil fuel subsidies, marking a reversal from policies put in place by his predecessor, Donald Trump, who sought to maximize U.S. oil, gas, and coal output by removing regulations and easing environmental reviews. But Biden did not enact one measure that Trump, on the campaign trail, claimed his rival would.
He's going to ban fracking.
Let me be clear, and I know this always comes up. We're not going to ban fracking.
Biden last week returned the U.S. to the Paris Climate Accord after Trump abandoned the agreement. Biden's focus on climate change has cheered international partners and environmental advocates, but has upset big oil, which argues the moves will cost the U.S. millions of jobs and billions of dollars in revenue at a time when the economy can least afford it.
The latest surge in coronavirus cases is starting to ease in the U.S., prompting some states to pull back public health restrictions. Last month, as the disease spread over the holidays, states like California and New York went under partial shutdowns with stay-at-home orders. But this week, there have been some improvements. Severe COVID-19 infections are starting to decline, although the death toll mounts. Hospitalizations have fallen nearly 18% from the beginning of January, a key indicator of the disease's slowing pace, spread, and severity. Citing the improvements, New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo lifted economic restrictions in areas where infection rates had been high, and soon plans to reopen New York City restaurants. At a press conference on Wednesday, Cuomo said, quote, "At this point, it's safe to say the holiday surge was anticipated. The holiday surge did happen, but the holiday surge is over." In California this week, Governor Gavin Newsom lifted stay-at-home orders in much of the state. The decision reopens hair salons and outdoor dining, although indoor worship services remain banned. The state's most densely populated county, Los Angeles, is looking to reopen schools within 2 or 3 weeks, according to an LA Times report on Wednesday. Although it's unclear when the final decision will be made, as teachers' unions and school districts must agree on when and how to reopen. Meanwhile, U.S. leadership is overseeing a choppy rollout of vaccines amid an emerging threat of more infectious COVID-19 variants from Brazil, the UK, and South Africa. President Joe Biden warned earlier this week, "It's going to take months for us to turn things around."
The Biden White House hinted Wednesday as to how it will handle a longtime target of Washington, China's Huawei, saying it will safeguard America's telecom companies. Press Secretary Jen Psaki spoke to questions over how Biden will handle a company accused of being able to spy on customers.
Telecommunications equipment made by untrusted vendors, including Huawei, is a threat to the security of the U.S. and our allies.
Psaki added the U.S. would work closely with allies to help secure and invest in their telecoms networks. Huawei, China's top telecoms equipment company, declined to comment, and the Chinese embassy in Washington did not immediately respond. On top of accusations its gear could be used for espionage, Washington has also alleged Huawei has stolen intellectual property and violated sanctions on Iran. However, Huawei has denied any wrongdoing. Biden's predecessor, Donald Trump, placed the company on a trade blacklist and led a global campaign to convince allies to exclude it from their networks. However, Biden's nominee to the Commerce Department, Gina Raimondo, sent up red flags for China hardliners when she refused to commit to keeping Huawei on that blacklist. Psaki did not mention the blacklisting on Wednesday.
American actress Cloris Leachman, an 8-time Emmy and Oscar Award winner, died on Wednesday at the age of 94. In a statement, Leachman's publicist said the actress died of natural causes at her home in Encinitas, California. Best known for her work on sitcoms like The Mary Tyler Moore Show and movies like The Last Picture Show, Leachman's career spanned well over 6 decades. One of her first major roles came in the 1950s on the popular TV show Lassie. She also found success on the big screen, playing comically villainous characters in several of Mel Brooks' films, including Young Frankenstein and High Anxiety in the 70s. Age did little to stop Leachman, who later won Emmys in 2002 and 2006 for playing cranky Grandma Ida on Malcolm in the Middle. In 2008, she became the oldest contestant ever and a fan favorite on popular reality show Dancing with the Stars at the age of 82. And 2 films that she made in 2019 and 2020 have yet to be released. In a statement, Leachman's publicist called her one of the most fearless actresses of our time, and said that you never knew what Cloris was going to say or do, and that unpredictable quality was part of her unparalleled magic.
Wild trading in heavily shorted stocks and a slump in Boeing slammed Wall Street Wednesday, with stocks suffering their biggest loss in 3 months. Selling accelerated after the Federal Reserve left interest rates unchanged, and Chairman Jerome Powell pointed to the headwinds facing the economy. The Dow plunged 633 points, or 2%. The selling was even worse for the S&P 500 and NASDAQ, which both dropped more than 2.5% Wednesday. Adding to the market turmoil, amateur retail investors piled into shares of video game retailer GameStop and cinema operator AMC Entertainment, pushing up their shares and forcing short sellers like Citron to ditch their losing bets. Gerber Kawasaki COO Danilo Kawasaki says regulators need to step in.
Because on one side, I think that this it impacts the integrity of the market, and we need confidence from investors to maintain an orderly market. But on the other side, my colleagues here are saying that this is an opportunity for the small guy, for the little guy, to kind of stick to the big guys.
Other big movers Wednesday: Boeing. Shares declined almost 4%. The airplane manufacturer took a huge $6.5 billion charge on its new wide-body twin-engine 777X jet due to the health crisis and the aftermath of the safety issues over its narrow-body 737 MAX. After the markets closed, shares of 2 Silicon Valley tech titans rose modestly after posting strong results. Apple's quarterly profit breezed past estimates. New 5G iPhones helped push handset revenue to a new record and sparked a 57% rise in China sales. Facebook's quarterly profit and revenue crushed analysts' estimates. Increased ad spending by businesses lifted the social networking company's top line. But Tesla shares slid after hours. The electric car maker's profit came in short of Wall Street's targets.
Tech juggernauts Apple and Facebook both beat already high Wall Street expectations on Wednesday when they reported earnings for the holiday quarter. Apple posted its most profitable quarter ever, fueled by sales of its new 5G iPhones as well as Mac laptops and iPads, driven by consumers working, learning, and playing from home. CEO Tim Cook said iPhone sales in China rose 57%. In an interview with Reuters, Cook said Apple gained in China both from customers switching from rival Android devices as well as existing customers upgrading their phones, but said upgraders in particular set an all-time record in China. Shares of Apple, the biggest public company in the U.S., fell slightly following the report, but have risen more than 10% in just the past 2 weeks. Facebook also posted record results on Wednesday, powered by increased ad spending by businesses to capitalize on a holiday shopping season moved mostly online. The social network has launched a slew of new e-commerce products such as Facebook Pay and Facebook Shops that enable in-app purchases across the company's suite of apps, including Instagram. Monthly active users also rose more than expected to 2.8 billion, but shares of the world's biggest social media company fell after the close, later returning to about flat, after warning of, quote, significant ad-targeting headwinds in 2021 because of, guess who, Apple, saying its impending privacy changes could interfere with ad targeting and therefore hurt its revenue.
Tesla's posted record earnings Wednesday still disappointed Wall Street, posting adjusted income short of the $1.1 billion analysts had hoped for. Investors had also hoped to see CEO Elon Musk's electric car maker set a higher target for vehicle deliveries in 2021, but the company only gave a vague outlook, driving shares down 5%. It caps 12 months that saw Tesla's shares surge some 700%. Investors had bet on expectations that Tesla will quickly and profitably expand after setting a goal of delivering 500,000 vehicles last year. Instead, in a statement, the company did not state a concrete delivery goal. Under Musk's leadership, Tesla bucked the 2020 trend of economic upheaval with steady sales at a time when many car makers reported losses. Its success allowed Tesla to join the S&P 500 index, defying long-term skeptics who had bet against the company. Over the past year, Tesla ramped up production in China, though it faces local competition by the likes of NIO and XPeng. Tesla is also building new car and battery manufacturing factories in Texas and Germany. But the race is now on for car makers who are developing electric vehicles of their own to challenge Tesla's lead. Several car makers are slated to release new electric models this year, including Ford's Mustang Mach-E and Volkswagen's ID.4.
Nissan says that it's planning all its new models to be either hybrids or fully electric by the early 2030s in most major auto markets. The company says this should cover Japan, China, Europe and the United States. The drive to build EVs is part of Nissan's aim to be carbon neutral by 2050. Many automakers are racing for similar electric pushes, and in some countries they don't have a choice. In the UK, for instance, new cars powered only by petrol and diesel will not be sold from 2030. Japan itself wants to end sales of new gasoline-powered vehicles by the mid-2030s and move towards EVs. The country laid out a so-called green growth strategy last year to help reach its carbon-neutral goal by 2050. Japan faces a challenge to achieve that. Renewable energy made up just 18% of its power mix in the year ended March 2020.
These were the top headlines for today. Stay safe and goodbye.